these techniques, basically the base of it is imagery. So that's kind of where mnemonic techniques are really powerful, because the human mind is very, there's a very strong affinity for images. And so if you can create representative images from the text, it can actually make it a lot stickier. So this is kind of a thing that I've added to normal script analysis. So it's important to, have an understanding of that text, to have, your emotions and things like that. But if you need something a little more to get it in there, these mnemonic techniques can really, really be powerful.
And when you say image, is it something you just imagine in your head, or you need to visually see it? So you would draw it, or you would get a picture that reminds you, or?
So it's imagining in your head, but you can, if you need to draw it out, that can be helpful too. Or, getting an image from Google or something like that can help too, to make it more specific. Or if you're not sure what would be a good representative image for the words that you're trying to remember, things like that. But yeah, I mean, the basic principle of these image-based mnemonic techniques that, like I was telling you, these memory champions and memory athletes use, is they transform information into images, into representative images that are very striking and very out of the ordinary. And so this is what helps make them stick. And
is it like associations, or what do you call it? Like associations, where you associate that word with that image or that thought, or is that what it is?
So there, how do I explain it? There's several things that sort of go into, creating mnemonic technique, or creating a mnemonic. So if there's actual just imagery in your text, which a lot of times there is, right? You can imagine those things, just really flesh them out in your mind's eye. Sometimes when it's kind of more maybe abstract or technical or dry or something like that, you can actually replace, this is this whole technique with substitution, where you can actually substitute words that sound similar to the words that you're trying to remember. And if the substituted word is more concrete, you can use that as the image instead. I know it sounds like crazy. It's like, well, how does this work? But when you actually do it, you're like, oh, this is amazing. But it just sounds a bit complicated when you hear it in the moment.
I wanted an example of the image to replace the words that will make it stick in your head that you spoke about. I guess she's asking if there's
about representative images. Yeah. So I can give you a very simple example of, I've used this example before, take the word key, a key. So you could represent that as an image of just a regular normal house key. But the thing is, that's a very everyday object, right? We come across keys all the time. So that's not necessarily very memorable. There's certain ways you can enhance that though. So what if you imagine a key that was really big? What if it was really heavy? What if it's rusty and dirty and there's blood on it or something? And right. So that's going to be a lot more memorable. So that's a very simple example of a way that a representative image for the word key. Now she's probably talking about kind of the more abstract words that are more difficult to memorize, where you would replace the word with something else, a substitution. I'm trying to, come up with a good example right now. I'm looking at the word English. I'm just looking at my screen. Okay. English, right? Is there something that's a ready-made thing that could represent English? It's a little bit more difficult than key, right? So what can you think of? An Englishman, like an English muffin, kind of doing that kind of word association game can kind of, help you find something to represent a word. But I go through these techniques in like a lot more in-depth way in my course, where it's, there's a whole methodical way about it, but I'm trying to give you some basic understanding about kind of how that works.
Right.